Hello, welcome to the E&I Perspective,
a podcast where we explore and share our perspective
on contemporary issues about the human mind, society,
and happenings around the world.
Hi guys, welcome to this episode of the E&I Perspective. My name is Iziengbe.
And my name is Emmanuel, and today we are just going to be exploring the topic of hard work versus talent.
Yeah, the topic is a very interesting one because many people have the opinion that you can't succeed without hard work, while others have the opinion that talent is more important. Why there's an entirely different school of thought that think you need something else other than talent or hard work. But majority of the popular opinion on this subject from the research we did before we came on to this before this conversation was that many people believe that you need a combination of both. And there's a tiny fraction of the research that we did that revealed that many people still believe that you don't need talent nor hard work. In other words, no matter how talented or hardworking you are, what determines whether you'll be successful or not is destiny, it's your fate. So we'll be touching on all of those and many more as we go.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I wish I didn't need talent or hard work to succeed.
yeah. I think many people will have the same opinion as you. So to go into the conversation proper, Emmanuel, when you hear the word talent, what comes to your mind?
So when I hear talent, I mean, the first thing that usually would come to my mind would be a natural ability. But I also think that talent is more than that. So one way I would define talent would be a mental strength, right? That makes it easy for you to, for example, do a task or pursue an endeavor, such as a profession. And this can come from, an ability that you're naturally gifted with, and it could also relate to abilities that that result from learning, development, or really just owning your skill.
It's quite interesting you mentioned learning because, like you said, when you hear the word talent, what comes to mind to many people is a natural God-given gift or God-given ability. So that means what you said now, it answers the question that that some people might have, that if you can learn something, does that mean it is not talent? Or how do you see that? Or you think something learned over time can also qualify as talent?
Yeah, I think something learned over time can also qualify as talent, because I think talent in itself is just an ability, and that ability can be innate, such as you having something naturally by way of, for example, your genetics and things like that. But there are also a lot of abilities that you have as a result of your learning and development or disciplined practice. Those can also count as talent as well.
Okay, that's interesting. That's quite interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have talent on the one side. On the other side, we have hard work. So, if talent is the innate ability or what you get by continuous learning over time, so how would you classify hard work or define hard work?
Yeah. So hard work then will mean the how dedicated you are and how diligent you are in, for example, learning that skill. Okay. So for me, a hardworking individual will be an individual that puts in a lot of effort towards achieving a goal or completing a task. The ability to do that task in itself is talent, but then that willingness to stay with that task and complete it would then be hard work. So one who is hardworking is one who puts in a lot of effort to complete a task or an objective.
Yeah, it's interesting for in addition to what you said, to add to what you said, I think hard work, when I hear hard work, what comes to mind is perseverance and the ability to grind through something. It might not really be easy, but your
Yes,
ability to stay with that thing and see to a logical conclusion, see to a
absolutely,
finite conclusion is
absolutely,
what
yeah,
hard work is. And I think hard work has a way of feeding into talent, because some talents are naturally, you are naturally blessed with some talent, which is that innate ability. But to improve that ability to become something even better than what it was from what the raw talent was, I think you need hard work to make it better. And even like you said, some talent you have to learn, you have to talent can also come by continuous learning, and how you do that is by being hardworking to improve the skill or to improve your natural ability to a
yeah.
level that you become a master in that thing.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, I think it's absolutely interesting how you sort of link that up by saying that they feed each other, right? For example, if you are starting with an innate ability that you have, at the raw state, the chances that you are not getting the best result you could possibly get with that innate ability. But adding hard work on top of that, you continuously improve that ability you have through the process of, for example, continuous practice, discipline practice, and things like that. So in a way you explain it, it's almost as if one contributes to the other,
To
and
the
and,
other.
and they feed into each other back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So having said that, do you think, I think we touched on that a little bit, but do you think you need one to sustain the other, or one can independently thrive without the other?
It's a hard call, right? Yeah. I mean, just following back on what we said just now, it almost sounds as if you can't have one give the best result without the other. But one way to look at talent, for example, when you look at talent as an innate ability, is you can look at it as a head start. For example, if you wanted to do something and you had a natural talent to do that thing, that natural talent or ability can be a head start, right? And then with hard work, you can push your performance along. Performance on top on top your talent can take you really far, right? But without the talent and you have hard work, you have a really good work ethic, you can also learn an ability, right? If that ability is not something you had naturally, but with diligence and dedication through hard work, you can learn that ability, and then you can perform at a level higher than somebody who didn't have who has the ability, right? So in that sense, I would say that talent cannot give you as much. Okay, talent alone is not enough. You need hard work to support talent. But if you didn't have talent, hard work can get you somewhere. Okay, but there's just also as far as you can go if you didn't have talent, because talent in itself might be an encouraging push, to sort of get you going, because it comes naturally to you, what that thing that you're doing.
I kind of agree with you there, because hard work, it's not something that's easy. So hard work alone, like you said, is an head start. For me, I see it like it's talent rather. It's like an head start that kind of gives you a springboard to start with. So,
Yes.
but with hard work, the limit you can then get to, it's you have like an unimaginable height that one can attain when there's a combination of both talent and hard work. But hard work on
Yeah.
its own, I think hard work on its own can take you far, but but I don't think it can take you as far as when you have a talented person that is hardworking. So
Oh,
to
yeah.
answer that, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say that, the combination of hard work and work ethic is just, is unbeatable.
Yeah.
Totally unbeatable. Yeah.
Mm. So, would you rather have talent, or would you rather have hard work?
Hard call again. I think I will. Well, like we said, the best case is having talent and then
And,
working really hard, right?
right,
And that
yeah.
gives you, an elite performance.
Mm.
But if I had to choose, I would choose hard work, because I know that a lot of abilities can be learned. With the right
Yeah,
training, with
yeah,
the right resources, you can learn a lot of abilities or skill, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
if you had a good work ethic, you can
yeah,
go really far. Yeah. So I
yeah.
would I would go for work. I would go for hard
Mm.
work.
Like when we've been mentioned, we've just been trained the word talent all around. And what examples of talent do you think are there that people can identify with and say, okay, yes, okay, maybe that's my talent?
Yeah, an example of talent would be intelligence. For example, verbal intelligence.
Okay.
You hear the phrase "the gift of the gap," which is somebody who is naturally gifted with words, such as able to do public speaking or oratory and things like that. So that's in itself is some kind of talent. Another one would be, for example, mathematical intelligence. There are people who somehow are really good with numbers. For
Mm,
example, some of our really
mm,
amazing scientists who,
yeah.
do incredible work
And even if you see some kids from a very young age, you can see the way they pick up numbers, the way they multiply things, the way they are very good in
yes,
understanding basic mathematical
yeah,
theories, and even
yeah,
something that it's a bit
yeah,
advanced, more than
yeah.
their
I've
level.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that has to be talent, because at that level, you don't expect them to be, and they are naturally drawn to
yeah.
such things.
Yeah, I think there's a word for such condition where people have this really unexplainable ability with numbers. I'm trying to remember. I really can't remember the word now, but they are quite, clairvoyant guys who, for some reason, it has got something to do with their brain, right? They are just so good with numbers. And I've watched a couple of videos where some of these guys are being interviewed and they are asked how they do this number thing. And some of them
Yeah,
tell you that when they look at numbers, they see shapes,
yeah,
okay? And some
yeah,
say they just see colors.
yeah,
And that's that's some crazy abilities. Sorry,
yeah.
that's some crazy ability that not everybody has, and that's talent.
Yeah, and you definitely, when you also hear of talent, you hear of the arts, painting, sculpting, acting, from poetry and writing. So all those are talent that you can also you can also have.
Yeah, another person, for
Yeah.
example, I could give as someone who has uh, talent that comes from learning is somebody like Thomas Edison, right?
Okay.
If you look at Thomas Edison's a lot of the successes attributed to Thomas Edison comes down to his ability to sort of get other talented people to work together. A lot of the discoveries that are attributed to him comes from a lot of teamwork that was happening. I think, for example, this is my personal opinion. I could argue that Thomas Edison was not one of the finest scientists or inventors that we had. A lot of his works come from, his ability to come to bring a lot of engineers together and get them thinking as a team and building something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
At the time, someone like Nikola Tesla actually worked for Thomas Edison, but
Oh,
Nikola Tesla was somebody that was naturally really gifted, you know, with physics and electrical engineering and maths, right? But Thomas Edison was able to actually work with him and get a lot of smart people together to work, in his company, and that in itself is
it's
talent,
talent.
ability to lead
Yeah.
and yeah, lead a group of people. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You might not have the technical talent to do something, but you might have the talent to bring technical people together. So
Yes.
that is not for me. I don't think one is more important than the other, but I
Than
think
the
they
other.
both serve their purpose and have their
Absolutely.
place. Preparing for this discussion, there were some stats that you and I reviewed, and I would like to go through just a couple of them. But one striking thing, well, I say striking, is that many people, from a lot of surveys that were reviewed, it was found that a lot of people believe that hard work contributes more towards success compared to talent. So what's your take on that?
Uh, I, I personally believe that's correct. I think there's a lot of truth in that, because if we look at a lot of the exceptional individuals, across different disciplines and fields of endeavor that we have today, a lot of the people that we attribute huge successes to are people who have incredible work ethic. And if you speak to these people, many times they will tell you their success comes down to their hard work. And though these are people who also are very talented, if we look at what they do, but many times they will tell you that their success comes down to their hard work. And there's a popular quote such as, when talent doesn't work, hard work will beat talent.
Yeah,
And I think,
I think that was by Team Noct, and it
yeah,
says hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
doesn't work hard. Yeah, and that's, I think people who have just average talent go really far in their whatever endeavor they find themselves doing, when they have incredible work ethic.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know what you think. Do
Yeah,
you, do you have?
I think I agree. One example, I think I don't know, because there are some school of thought that kind of believe that, because it's I will not say it's a divisive opinion, but people have their preference as per what they would prefer. Do you
Yeah,
want a more talented person that you can just have a little bit of hard work, or do you want a more hardworking person with just a little bit of talent?
a little bit of
One
talent. Yeah,
one example to kind of shed more light on how that plays out is Michael Jordan. A lot of us know Michael Jordan to be this great basketball player. He was very talented. He brought a lot of attention and popularity to basketball, and many of the numbers that basketball enjoy today, many people, many sport commentators attribute it to the influence of Michael Jordan. And I think in the height of it was 1992 when they went for the
yeah,
Olympics, the USA team.
yeah,
They were one of the most the basketball team was the talk of the Olympics. Yeah, they went on to win the Olympics, by the way. So
yeah,
he got into the league in the 1980s, and as a young person, he was very good, but he was not successful straight away. It took him
yeah,
some time to learn his craft, to master his craft, to master his bodies, to master his skill. And
yeah,
in the early 90s, 91, 92, 93, he was very successful. He won 3 NBA, that's the
yeah,
National Basketball Association titles for his
yeah,
team, Chicago Bulls. And
yeah,
surprisingly to many people, he took a break because he's always loved baseball on the side. So he took a break and went to play to register to play baseball. He
yeah,
trained, he practiced, but what he will find out that even though he puts in the work, but because he did not have like the natural talent for baseball, he
yeah,
wasn't as successful as he
yeah,
was at basketball.
yes,
In baseball, so I
yeah,
think that's where talent, especially if you are in the sporting world,
yeah,
talent is really important. But
very
maybe in
important.
another setting,
Yeah,
maybe hard work might be more important. Then you just
than
need you need someone with a little bit of talent
talent.
that
Yeah,
can be hardworking.
uh,
And when he came back, sorry if I just
yeah,
finished. So when he came back to basketball,
yeah.
it took him some time, got used to it. He went on to with 3 more championships in
Oh yeah,
basketball. Yeah,
right.
yeah,
uh,
that's to tell you that that's
yeah,
where he was really talented at.
yeah. I think the Michael Jordan story that you just related is it's quite an interesting one, really,
Mm.
because it in the way you narrated it, it helps to it sort of helps to put in context how much talent can really play a huge role in success. And I mean, I couldn't disagree with that. I think again, you also have to, well, we probably also have to bear in mind the fact that success is relative, right?
Yes, yeah,
If we were looking at like a top performance level,
yeah,
for example, in the example in the example you just gave, which is
yeah,
sports. Now,
yeah,
this is a very competitive field, right? Where
yes,
you're looking at, for example, the best runner, or the guy that scores the highest number of goals. So
yes,
it's really competitive. And to perform at an elite level in sports, you
yeah.
just have to have a combination of
Combination of
talent
both. Yeah,
and hard work. And
yes,
I don't think hard work alone can take you to top
elite level.
that elite level, right?
Yeah,
I
true.
think you do really need a combination of both. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Another example, a good example would be Usain Bolt having a very stellar career in athletics, winning like setting world records, beating world records, and setting new records in so many
Yeah.
categories of athletics. At the end of his career, he went on to play football, but he wasn't as successful as he
Yeah.
was at. So I think
Yeah.
that brings to fore the fact that, especially in the sporting world, talent is really important. That hard work is not enough, and depending on the setting where you find yourself, you may need a more hard work, or you may need more of the talented person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think also an important point to also make is the fact that beyond sports, most other human fields of human endeavor,
Yes.
right? You could do really well with the best work ethic, right? Because if
Yeah.
you really look at it, you know most things or most jobs that you want to do with just an average talent
Yes.
and a really good work ethic, you
You.
can be a good performer, a
Yeah.
really excellent performer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
True. That's very true. That's very true. So that brings me to the next part of this conversation, that because to most people, I think I will not be too wrong to say this. To most people, when you hear hard work, it kind of seems to relate more to the arts, entertainment, and sports. So do you think we can have talent in a corporate setting, just like you were hinting a while ago?
Yes, I think we can have talent in a corporate setting, because again, let's not narrow down talent to just innate ability alone.
Yes.
Talent also is beyond just innate ability. Talent comes also from the abilities you have through learning or development. Example, emotional intelligence. Okay, there are people who are quite empathetic, but empathy is something you can also learn
Yeah.
by improving your relational skills with people, taking the time to,
I'm making a conscious effort.
making a conscious effort to understand people,
Yeah.
and then being able to relate to their situation, and that then makes you empathetic, and
Yeah.
then that increases your emotional intelligence. So
Yeah.
emotional intelligence is actually a talent. It is a learned ability, right?
Yeah.
Other things such as public speaking. Why some people have the gift of the gap, a lot of us can learn public speaking.
Yeah.
If we just give it time and we understand, you know, because there are so many trainings that you can go through, to learn how to speak. I
And
think,
this might sign the popular saying, I say practice makes perfect. I
yeah,
think the more you, if it's public speaking, the more you come out of your shell and engage in the act of public speaking, the more you become a better public speaker. The
yeah,
more you read, the better you read, because even this happened to me when in my undergrad days, when I was reading at my 100 level. I used to spend, like, when I have like a new thing in front of me to read and understand,
yeah,
it may take me like a week to kind of grasp the theory, but the more I read, when I got to my 200 level, new things become even easier for me to learn than
yeah,
it was when I was in 100 level. So I think I think that applies to many other areas. The more you do a particular thing, the more you
yeah,
get better at
yeah.
it.
And just about the question you asked, how talent can apply in the workplace. Another
Yeah.
really good one is leadership, right?
Yeah.
Leadership is actually a talent. Okay, ability to lead people, ability to pull people together and
Yeah.
get people working together
Yeah.
towards a single aim, and
Yeah.
then getting those group of people to really achieve that aim. That
Yeah.
in itself is an ability.
Yeah. And there are
Yeah,
some people that comes natural to them. Why some others they have to
they have to learn.
learn it and
Yeah,
rise through the ranks, and
yeah,
from one level
exactly.
of responsibility to the other, and from
Ability
there
to the
get that the required level of leadership skill that
Yeah,
they require.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that's good. So in the workplace now, because in like in arts, in entertainment, in sports, it's very obvious that to succeed there, you need like a talent, you need hard work, you need to put in all these things together. You need to, even though you are very good musically, you need to be able to put in the work there to be able to rise to fame or to stardom. Do you think the same applies to a workplace, or you think the level of work ethic required will not be as much as when you talk about talent and hard work as it relates to art, entertainment, and sports?
well, I think for different disciplines, or if we say for different field of endeavor, there are tasks that requires more hard work than others. Yeah, and I would say that not every task require the same level of hard work, right? There are some tasks that you just have to put a little amount of work, and then you achieve decent level of results or output for that task. While some others, you might need to put a little bit more work, right? The reason why, for example, in fields such as music, such as the act, painting, and even sport, it almost looks as if you have to put an incredible amount, an insane amount of work into it. Is that the success measure, how we measure success in those areas, the bar is quite high, right? So what you call successful in the field of music, you are looking at, for example, the level of, if you're looking at classical music, Beethoven, if you were looking at sports, you're looking at somebody performing at the level of Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi. Or if you're looking at athletics, you're looking at somebody performing at the level of Usain Bolt. Right? So I think the standard by which we measure success in some of these fields, the bar is so high that you have to put an insane amount of work to get there.
Some people may say
which is why, for example, in the workplace, how we measure performance, part of it is also at an individual level, but also at a group level or a team level, right? Such that an individual might not be performing so well, and an individual might be performing averagely, but overall the team is performing very well. Okay,
and the team kind of covers for the lapses of the individual.
So the performance of the team sort of covers for the shortcomings of the individual. So in that way, I would say that it's quite difficult to measure performance sometimes within the corporate environment. There are so many other elements that play into it, right? Like I said, the team performance also is part of how you measure an individual performance.
I think I agree with what you said there, but just to add a little bit to it, in a corporate settings, you need to have talent in what you are doing, and sometimes and not sometimes, I think most times, just talent is not enough. You still need to put in the work. And I think in measurement of performance within a workplace setting, the criteria might not be as stringent or as high as that for a sport, because for the sports and entertainment people, they are in the eyes of the world. The entire world is the judge of whatever they are putting at. So the level of criticism they will receive is on an insane level. So they are held to a higher level of standard. But in a workplace, you are held to a level of standard, but the pressure might not be as high as you may have with those sports and entertainment people. But that is not to say that those people are not also that you cannot also perform at a high level, even within your group or just within your organization. I think once you put in the work and you grind at it, then you also be recognized within that organization itself.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I mean, the amount of how would I put it really well now? I would say that the same thing that makes you, in terms of work ethic, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about conscientiousness, dedication. I'm talking about agreeableness, likability.
Yeah.
All of those things that would make you successful in a field A can very well transfer to another field, right? Yes, the skill sets are different, right?
Yes.
But that work ethic is the same everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. That ability to show up every day, showing up every day, putting in the hours, that ability to keep at what you are doing is the same everywhere. Yes, the skill set of what you actually have to do to get the work done is different, but just that committedness, that diligence, that dedication is the same everywhere and would give you the same result everywhere. Yeah.
I think that's true. Now we've seen that you can learn talent, you can have innate ability that you're born with, and as a talent, you can also have talent that you've over time worked on. And for both cases, you need hard work to kind of bring it to a very to a finished or a polished level, or to an elite level. So hard work is an essential ingredient, whether you have a naturally born gift, a natural gift that you're born with, or you have a gift that you want to learn and then become a master and become talented in. So hard work is kind of key in both cases, and we've just all been talking about hard work. Now, is it easy to work hard? Do you think it's easy to work hard?
I don't think it is. I think it it's hard to work hard. I don't know.
Okay.
It's almost I'm
Yeah.
using the word hard twice, but
Okay.
that's the best way I can sort of maybe explain that. I mean, it's tough. It's tough, and I don't think anything worthy comes easy, right? You need to think about the fact that you're trying to get a task done. It's almost as if you are going uphill, right?
Yeah.
There's so much inertia. There's so much inertia that you have to overcome. So
Yeah.
working hard is not easy. It's not easy. It's really not easy. And yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I agree with you that working hard is not easy because naturally our body, when you wake up in the morning, you don't want to get up. You have to set alarm. I'm guilty of that. I set alarm almost 6 times in the morning because I know the first one might not get me up. I'll need the second or the seventh or the third or the fourth one to be able to get me up in the morning because
yeah,
naturally our body wants to rest. Our body likes to our body
comfort. The
likes to
body,
comfort.
yeah,
Exactly.
the
I
body
think
likes comfort and
that's
convenience,
and
right?
convenience. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
and that's and to overcome that, because like you said, there's an inertia that you have to overcome to be able to bring yourself up to say, okay, I have to do this thing, I have to do this, I have to do that. And I think one way to be able to navigate that, because I agree with you totally that hard work is not easy. It takes a lot of effort. And one way to overcome that, to be able to see hard work, to be able to see the work and see the need to do it and have that
push
fire
or
burn,
drive.
the
Yeah, yeah,
push here is to have a feeling of responsibility. The responsibility that, yes, I have bills to pay, the responsibility that I have mouths to feed, the responsibility that I have a future that I want to invest in, I have a career ambition, a position that I'm targeting, that if I don't put in this work, I might not get it. The feeling that as a teacher, you have students that are waiting on you to come and teach them, upon which their future is dependent. So if you see that, that's an enormous amount of responsibility to be responsible for the for charting a course for the future of young children. And also there are many examples, like also even as a business person, as an entrepreneur, you're into logistics. If you don't get them in the morning to supply your customers, their own business might not run smoothly. Their own business might be frustrated because you are not keeping your end of the bargain. So that
yes,
feeling of responsibility is
responsibility.
one
Yeah,
of the one way that can help you overcome the difficulty
yeah,
in working hard,
yeah.
if I put it like that.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct, and I totally agree. And maybe another way or something I would just add on to that is, in addition to having the sense of responsibility that keeps you going, is also having the sense of meaning, right? So just the way you explain, for example, a teacher who has to go to the classroom to teach the kids,
Yeah.
because she knows that the future of those kids in some way are
Mhm.
dependent on having good teachings, right?
Yeah.
In another way to look at that is the fact that the teacher draws some kind of sense of meaning from doing that, okay? Because being able to groom, the next generation
Yes.
is something quite meaningful, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so deriving meaning from work can't just be the drive that pushes you to want to
Yeah.
keep doing that work.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. I think we hit the nail right there on the head. Having a
yeah,
sense or a feeling of responsibility and a sense of meaning
meaning.
is one of the sure ways you can overcome
The
the
burden of
burden
hard work,
of working hard,
of
and to
working
help you
hard,
go
yeah,
over and over and over
and
and
over.
over
Yeah,
again.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah. There's a popular saying that I've heard that the reward for hard work is more work. More work in the sense that how do you see that?
well, I think two ways I see that is, one is saying that the reward for hard work is more work, can be dangerous, because it then means that you then put people up against an insane amount of work beyond what they can handle, and then that leads to burnout, right? But also the responsibility, sorry, the reward for hard work being more work could also mean that you, for example, if we were looking at within the context of a workplace, it
Yeah.
then means that because somebody works really hard, you give them more opportunity, which means they have more opportunities to improve their ability and they
Yes.
grow more.
Yes.
But the drawback to that is that if you do that within a team, it means that some other people would then be looked on as not working hard, not necessarily because they are not, they can't work hard, but because they are not given the opportunity to do that. So I think we can be very careful how we apply that, such that we do not, in one, first, the individual in question does not get into burnout from excessive work than they can
They can
manage.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think that's right, because um when I hear that saying that the road for more hard work is more work, in a properly managed settings, in a properly managed workplace, what that would mean is more responsibility, more the responsibility might not be in terms of the work might not be in terms of the volume of the work you have to do or the amount of work you have to do. It might be in
yes.
terms of the responsibility
Possibility
level
level,
or the
yes,
impact level of
yes,
the work that you're doing. It might not necessarily mean like if you were working 30 hours before that, you now have to be working 35 hours. It might mean that you even work fewer hours, but the impact of the decisions that you have to make for
yes,
the new tasks that you are being assigned to would have more weight to it
yeah,
than previously. So I
yeah,
think in a properly managed setting, reward for hard work should be more work in the context of more responsibilities, more opportunities, promotion, and the being allowing the person to make decisions now at a higher level. But like you said, it can be dangerous because some employers might say very hardworking person, and because that person is very hardworking, would not want to employ any other person and want to
increase the volume of your
increase
work,
the
and that,
volume of, because this person is hardworking,
yeah, and that can lead,
and that can lead
to
to
burnout.
burnout, can lead to
Yeah,
stress, can lead to
yeah,
anxiety,
yeah,
and many other things. So if you are a
yeah,
business owner, if you are an employer of labor, when you see an hardworking person, that's not a time to overstress or overwork the person. It's the time to encourage the person by giving that person more responsibility to handle when the person has proven himself at a certain level.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's absolutely correct.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
So I think it's really have been interesting conversation, and just looking at what we have discussed so
So
far,
far.
it sounds like we both agree that hard work is important, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
are not we are not we are not completely undermining the relevance of talent
Yes.
in some areas such as sports, but it sounds like we are both agreeing to the fact that hard
Mm.
work can make a whole world of difference.
Difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it will be interesting to see what some other people think about this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I've got some comments from Stephen King.
Yeah.
Just an insight from Stephen King, who is an author.
Mm.
It says that talent is cheaper than table salt. What separates the talented individual from a successful one is a lot of hard work.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting quote from Stephen King. And when I saw that quote, what I sort of thought of it is when Stephen King is saying talent is cheaper than table salt, and in my mind, I'm thinking that what it probably means there is that talent is common than we think. There are a lot of talented individuals in the world, but very few really outstanding successes. So what Stephen King is saying is that if you think you are talented, you just need to step out of your room and see on the street a lot of talented people.
People,
But
yeah,
not everybody translates, not
that
everybody
talent
converts that talent
to success.
into success, because
Yeah,
not everybody is willing to
put in the
do the
work.
to put in the work. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And I think there's another comment here from Will Smith. We know him as a very popular Hollywood actor. He said, and I quote, "I've always considered myself to be just average talent. And what I have is a ridiculous, insane obsessiveness for practice and preparation." Well, I think he is telling us that um, what has gotten him far is an insane obsessiveness for practice and preparation, which I would think is also can translate to hard work. So
Yeah.
it's not just enough to be talented. In order to be a successful person like Will Smith is in his own endeavor, you need a lot of hard work to add to the talent that you have. And it's interesting that he said that he considered himself to be average talent, which goes further to say that you need you need talent, but that talent, in order to take it to the next step, you need to back it up with
With
hard
the
work.
hard work. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's also interesting when he said ridiculously insane, ridiculous, insane obsessiveness for practice and
Yeah.
preparation. And
Yeah.
part of talent, which is an ability,
Yeah.
comes from disciplined practice. So
Okay.
you interestingly, there's now a level of ability, which is also talent that you get from, an insane obsessiveness for practice, which is like just keep working and
Yeah.
honing your craft. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Then there's this last comment here that I'll be reviewing for the sake of this conversation, and it's from an American football player, Robert Griffin III. It says, "Hard work pays off. Hard work beats talent any day, but if you are talented and work hard, it's hard to beat." I'll say that again. Say hard work pays off. Hard work beats talent any day, but if you are talented and work hard, it's hard to beat. I think that kind of caps it all, because you can be talented, but you don't work and you don't work hard. Somebody that works hard can beat you, but if you are talented and you work hard, then it's difficult to
It's
overcome.
difficult to beat. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
difficult to
yeah,
be that kind of
yeah,
person.
yeah. And I think my last line of thought would be why hard work cannot make you successful on its own. It significantly helps.
Yeah.
It significantly helps.
Do you think hard work can't make one successful on its
Yeah.
own?
Again, okay, maybe I will go back. I will go back one step.
Okay.
I would say why hard work can make you successful, right? But when I say why hard work cannot make you successful, is because of the fact that, again, you need to think of talent as an ability that you get from learning, right? So if
Okay.
you didn't learn a skill, just working hard, which is exerting energy
Yeah.
without being directed towards actually learning a particular skill, right?
Yes.
So just mere hard work, right, which is just exerting energy
Yeah.
in no direction at all, will not make you successful, right?
Yeah. I think it's good that you're saying that, because you want to be naturally, or to get optimal results, you want to be hardworking in something you are talented at. You don't just want to
Yes.
apply you just want to be hardworking at anything that comes your way. You have to be smart about it. You have to recognize that gift, or that talent, or that thing that you are good at, that you want to be hardworking at, so that as you're putting the hard work, you are seeing the result. In order so as you don't get frustrated at the end of the day. Though, like you say, why I ask you the question that hard work alone can give you success, because if you're hardworking in something, and even with something that you are not talented at before, and you are able to put in the work and learn
Yeah.
it over time, then I think hard work there is the driving force, not the talent, because talent wasn't there at the beginning. It was
Yeah.
hard work that now birthed the talent that as you went along the way. So hard work alone can give you the talent that you need to be successful. And as
Yeah.
you're hard working in the process, you are learning one or two things as you go along the way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think talent without hard work can really, really significantly hurt your chances at success.
Yeah.
If you are just merely talented, say, for example, you had a natural talent and you
Yeah.
don't work hard at transferring or converting that into tangible success,
Yeah.
then it really just
And some people might say
it
that
can be unhelpful.
if you have talent and you don't use it, you might even lose the talent. Though,
I agree with that. You know, it's almost like the case of use it or lose it. You know, for
yeah,
example, if you talk about, you know, our cognitive ability and all that, when
yes,
you don't use it, you lose it. And I think there's a statement I saw somewhere that says that, you know, talent, you know, fades as quickly as it naturally comes.
okay.
Right. So talent comes naturally. Aspect of talent comes naturally and can also naturally fade when you don't use it.
Yeah. So when somebody is born with an innate ability, do you think they have the capacity to lose that talent,
I
even if
think
they don't use it?
I think yeah, they have the ability to lose it because over time
Yes.
they get onto doing something that a lot of, again, you have to understand that ability becomes more pronounced the more the more you exert yourself along those lines.
Nice. Yeah.
So if you have an ability to do something and you don't apply yourself in along that line and you instead do something else, that is
Yeah.
where all of your faculties go
Yeah.
into.
Yeah, though some people
Yeah.
might disagree because there's a scripture in the Bible that I read that says that the gift of the Lord is without repentance. And and many people will interpret that to mean that when you are gifted at something, that gift remains with you forever and you don't tend to lose it. Maybe this can be a discussion for another day, but I think
Yeah.
generally it's I think I tend to agree that when you have something and you don't use it, then you sometimes you even forget that you have it, and in the process, when you don't even know you have something, it's as good that you don't have it anymore because you
Yeah,
don't
that's
even know
correct.
that you have it. And there's a book I read by Robert Collier that there was a saying in that book that kind of struck me, that we lose our capacity to have visions if we don't take step to realize the visions we'll be given. That is, if you are given a vision to do and you don't take steps to realize that vision, your capacity to get new visions will be diminished.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I just in line of talking about books, I have got 2 book recommendations that probably would help to understand this a little bit more
Yeah.
if our listeners want to maybe explore a bit further.
Okay.
There's a popular book by John C. Maxwell
Okay.
called Talent is Never Enough. And I think
Okay.
it's a really good book that talks about talent and
Mm.
how and why it is important to work really hard, you know, to get talent, you know,
Oh,
working for you.
okay.
Another
And the
one
second
is
one?
The Talent Delusion by Thomas,
Okay.
which actually also tries to really explain some of the misconceptions that we have about talent and
Okay.
how we can best use our talent to our advantage here.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. We're gradually coming to the end of the conversation. So one or two things that I would still like us to touch on before we close the conversation for today. Someone talented and does not work hard. How do you see that? What would be your take on that? Someone that is talented and does not work hard. What do you think the world has for that person?
I think someone who is talented but doesn't work hard will just end up being a mediocre, you know. What I mean by mediocre is that you're just going to be somebody who wouldn't achieve so much, you know. If you have just talent and you don't work hard, you're just going to be mediocre at anything that you do. You will really not achieve a stellar success or performance at whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
And I think that in itself can be quite frustrating because there's the burden of talent.
Yeah.
If you have talent and you are not using it, and you know that you are not using it, there's some kind of frustration that comes from the burden of having that talent,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that can be very hurtful, especially
Yes.
when you see other people who probably you think you are talented than, but
Yeah.
somehow they have a higher level of success than you do because
Yeah.
they are doing more work than you are
Working. Yeah.
doing.
And
Yeah,
sometimes you just have to look inward and look within and see, okay, what are these guys doing that I'm not doing? And more often than not, you find out that the work ethics they have is is higher than the one the other person is
yeah,
putting in.
yeah, yeah,
Interesting. At the beginning, we kind of hinted that we have talent, we have hard work, and some people believe that you need a combination of both, which I think we kind of agree with. But there are some other person that think that no matter how talented or hardworking you are, that's not what determines what you end up with, whether you're successful or not. That's your talent or your hard work is not what determines it. That your fate, FATE, or your destiny is what controls the outcome you get. What would you have to say to that?
I think to say that is true becomes a little bit counterintuitive to a lot of the things that we've sort of discussed so far, because on one hand we are saying that there's an aspect of talent that comes naturally, and if there was such a thing as destiny, that would then explain that aspect. To say that, well, I have this ability that I have come to have due to, for example, my genetics or my DNA, that I had no control over. So if we could use a word such as destiny, then in my mind, that would describe that type of talent, which comes naturally, which you didn't do anything to start with to have it. And if we are saying that that in itself is not enough, that to get success, you have to do a lot of work to get that moving, then I don't think destiny in itself is enough to give you success. Hard work will still have to come into the equation.
I think the popular saying that your destiny is in your hands kind of sums it up. You cannot just fold your hands and expect things to fall in line. And even if you are talented, you may it still depends. Some people are just okay being mediocre, so for them that's being success. If that's it, then fine.
But success is relative, so you have to define what success means.
But to get to an elite level, to get to an usually to get to when you say something is mediocre, usually it's not something that anyone should aspire to get. So and that's what only talent without putting in the work gets you most times. So for you to just fold your hands and say, or to think that no matter what happens, your destiny is already determined. So whether you put in the work or not, this is what it is what it is. If I would say, but on a more serious note, I think what one get determines on how much one puts in the work, and you have a say, a huge amount of influence on what you end up with. Yes, there are some things you cannot control, where you are born, the environment you find yourself, but what you make of what life has dealt to you, 99.9% rest with you.
And it's actually good how you mentioned, other things that you might not have control over, such as, environment that you mentioned. There are other ingredients of success, or ingredients that makes the success equation that
kind of enhances one's chances of being successful.
Exactly. If you like, you can call them success enhancers, such as your environment. Now, the fact that a particular person is born into a certain culture or at a particular time in history might just be one of the key things that sort of secure their level of success, and that also has to be put into consideration. But outside of all the other things that you don't have control over, your talents and then your hard work is something you definitely have control over.
And even when you don't have that natural talent, in most times, like most people, when you have a drummer, some people are, because they have that natural gift for drumming and music, it's easier for them to learn. But for you, somebody that's not good in drumming can actually put in the work and learn how to drum and become a very good drummer. Maybe not as good as somebody that's talented, but definitely above an average level.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this has really been an interesting conversation today. Exploring talent and hard work, and how each of them sort of compare, and which one you needs most. And I think my opinion is that I need hard work more, and if I could have either, I would go for hard work.
I want both. I mean, really.
Absolutely. I want both. I want both as well, but if you could choose one, I would choose hard work. And I think it's been such an awesome conversation. And if you like to get more of these interesting conversations like this, please do well to make a comment on our YouTube page, Follow us on YouTube, on Twitter, on
Subscribe.
Instagram,
Yeah.
and our handle is E&I Perspective, both on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter.
Yeah,
And,
we'll be coming your way with more episode as time goes on. So please be on the lookout. Thank you very much for sticking with us to this time, and we'll see you again very soon. Thank you.
Yeah.
All
Bye
right.
for now.
Bye.